Hi, I'm Susan. Welcome back to my channel. This is where I help leaders find their voice and use their voice. This is a part two of what AI has to say about I statements. Now, if you've been in any sort of profession where you are leading people, I'm sure you understand and appreciate the value of using I statements in communication. I just want to make a little reminder here that I statements are so incredibly helpful in any relationship, but of course, they are helpful when you are in the relationships that you have at work leading others. So, if you have not watched the 3 to 4 minute video that I posted as a part one, it is a really kind of silly video that AI made upon the prompts that I put in, asking for the value of using I statements at work. Now, the I statements and the 5 tips that AI provides, I wholeheartedly agree with. Some of the examples that were provided by AI are more relational in maybe outside of work type relationships, which is fine. It all applies across the board, but I want to stay focused on how to use these skills at work leading others. So let me remind you of the 5 tips. And before we do that, if you're here this long and you're eager to hear what are those steps going to be, please do a like and a subscribe so that I can start to track this algorithm and understand what people want to hear and what they don't want to hear. So 5 tips. I'm going to refer off to the side from time to time to catch my notes. The first tip is express your feelings, not judgments. The second tip is to be specific about your concerns. The third tip is to avoid blaming others. The fourth tip, express your needs clearly. And the fifth tip is to be short and sweet. So I agree with those 5 tips. Those are wonderful 5 tips. Let's back it up and break it down with some examples. Let's go back to express your feelings and not judgments. And I will caution you on this one. Based on my experience, it is very easy to use your judgments to inform your feelings and then share what you think are your feelings, but you're just letting out a judgment. As leaders, we need to be very consciously aware of that choice. It is not our place to use our authority to tell people what we think if it's not a productive kind of a message. We should be sharing very clear information about how to make other people better in doing their job because of the collective mission that we all serve together. So if we take that, express your feelings rather than judgments, you can say something like, I feel disappointed when, fill in the blank. I feel disappointed when you are a half hour late to work without notifying anyone, because then we weren't prepared to deliver our meeting at 9 o'clock. Something to that effect. So I feel, fill in the blank. That's very different from passing judgment. And a judgmental way to say that could be anything. It could be, because you had to drop your child at school, we all were stuck with no information about this meeting. That's not okay. That is very judgy. So making sure you have a clear path of what needs to happen, what you need to say, and what you want the outcome to be. So I feel, fill in the blank, when you do or do not do something. All right, number 2. Be specific about your concerns. When you are having trouble developing someone or they are having trouble demonstrating how they're doing their job function, it's real easy to bulk it all together and out of frustration, say things like, I'm just frustrated with your performance, or I need to see some improvement, or I just don't know if you really want to be here. You might be thinking all of those things, but if you're not really being specific about your concerns, that's not helping the other person understand what you need from them. And it's not helping them understand how to make corrections. So to be specific with your concerns in the workplace, let's say you have a deadline Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you have one person on your team who continues to miss that Friday 8 o'clock deadline. You can say specifically, I'm concerned that you continue to miss this deadline because I don't know if you're overworked and need help doing some other tasks, or if you just aren't concerned about meeting that deadline. It's a conversation opener. By being specific about the concern of the 8 o'clock deadline, you can have that conversation to find out, is this person blowing you off because they really don't care about that deadline? Or are they being pulled in so many other directions that it is an unrealistic deadline? Both of which you need to help them resolve, but you can't take one application for a solution and throw it at the wrong problem. That's why we need to be specific. Okay, number 3, avoid blaming the other person. So let's say that you have someone on your team and you have, let's say there's 3 of you and you're all taking one part of an exercise to deliver to a group. 2 of the 3 do great, and then you have the one person who is completely unprepared. Rather than saying something like, well, we bombed that because of Larry, that's clearly blaming that person. And if Larry knows that his poor performance left a mark on the whole team, it's just kind of rubbing salt into the wound. Sometimes we have a bad day and we're just off. Other times we're completely ill prepared and we should have known better, but we just didn't do what we needed to do. Again, as the leader of the team, you have to be able to distinguish what actually happened and how do I communicate that, coming at it from the place of how do we make it better. So instead of blaming to say, well, we failed because of Larry, we can say, all right, let's meet as a team and figure out what went well and where we need improvement. And as a collective group, if you have to respond as the leader to that area of performance, you can say, yeah, that was not our best moment, but we have quickly revised our delivery for the next presentation. Something like that is a great way to demonstrate grace for your team, but you come right back in with your team and you let them know, here's the standard. We're not missing it next time, right? That's where it's like you use that grit side and you say, we will be prepared. This is what's going to happen if we're not prepared. And this is what everyone can expect if we have to go through one of those moments again where we're not all on the same page. Life happens. Sometimes you throw something to your team, you expect them to run with it, you come back, you trust it's going to go great, and you're surprised and something didn't go great. Don't make it all about them. You can't blame them, especially if you provided that level of autonomy for them to experience growth through the process. Now you have to go in there and manage it, handle it, and lead it into the space that you want it while you are protecting the integrity of people's spirits, because that's important too. Number 4, express your needs clearly. This sounds incredibly basic, and it is, and yet I have watched people struggle and struggle and struggle with being able to express their needs clearly. And it generally doesn't have to do with where that message will land. It's more about the person has not mastered the skill of giving clear instructions. So 4, that was express your needs clearly. 5, keep it short and sweet. There will be many opportunities to tell people, and then you rattle on a 8-minute monologue. I need to see this by Thursday. I need to see your attitude change by the end of today so that I know you are serious about wanting to move forward. I need to know that when I'm not in the room, you will not tear me down because it harms the entire team. I need, right? So these are those clear things. I am disappointed when you choose to be disrespectful about my work performance. I am hurt when you say things that attack my personal character. Those are short, sweet statements. Those are I statements. I feel this when you that. Being clear, having clarity, being able to give examples. This is going to help your team. It will also help you in expressing yourself in the way that is meaningful, because we as leaders get inside of our own head so much. And sometimes we start to listen to that dialogue that's going on, and we can get ourselves confused and turn around and think, did I say this? Did I say that? Was I clear, or did I just think I was clear? So the more that you practice your I statements, the more that you master your I statements. I feel blank when you blank, or when you say blank, I feel blank. Whatever that is, it is such a productive way to have a conversation and resolve it and build a positive plan to move forward. That's what leading others is all about. Making sure you have the resources to keep yourself right so that you can lead others in making sure they have the resources to perform and produce the outcome of the mission. Without those things in place, we start to chase our tail. We get a little more dysfunctional. But listen, even in those seasons when that happens, don't beat yourself up for it as it's a personal failure. Take it as a sign, take it as evidence that you need to back up and go put something back on the rails. When things are off the rails, we have a choice. We either let it keep going, or we go in and we heal it and we fix it and we keep moving on. It's a choice, and that's why you need to be able to know and be solid in what is your voice and how are you sharing your voice to move the mission forward. Leadership is a choice. Some are born with it, some develop it. It is so important that we continue to master our own abilities and skills to have impact on the world. When you do that, I will promise you, you're going to find that you will start to feel peace, and you will be able to protect that peace. So I invite you to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone that you think would find it helpful as they're on their own journey of learning how to find and use their voice. Until next time, thank you.